All right. Getting ready for a sustainability manager interview, right? Well, this deep dive is all about getting you prepped because it takes more than just loving the planet to land this job.
You got that right.
It is a competitive field.
It is.
And this interview is where you show them you're not just passionate, you're the one who can make real change happen.
Exactly. You've got to be able to prove that you're a strategic thinker.
Okay, so the career guide gives us a glimpse into this role. You're developing strategies, you're overseeing the implementation, you are like the sustainability champion. From the factory floor to the company's mission statement, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
No wonder it's a career path that's projected to grow by 6%.
Which translates to
Which, by the way, that means a lot of other people want this job too.
a lot of competition.
Yeah. So how do you stand out?
Well, you've got to be prepared. And one of the most important things you can do is walk into that interview knowing how to answer the tough questions.
Yes. And that is what we are diving into today. So let's tackle some of those common interview questions, arm you with the knowledge, and have you totally ready to crush this thing.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with a classic. Can you tell us about your experience with sustainability reporting? It seems simple enough, but it's also easy to mess up.
It is, and this is where you really want to make sure that you're connecting your experience to what they need. So don't just go through every single report that you've ever worked on. Think about, what did you learn from those reports? How did they change how you make decisions? What are some surprising things that you discovered? That's what they're going to remember.
And you know what? This is where I think RoleCatcher can give you a bit of an edge.
Yeah.
Because you can literally take that job description, you can put it right into RoleCatcher, and it will highlight keywords and phrases that are going to help you tailor your answer to exactly what they're looking for. It's like having a secret weapon who's already read the interviewer's mind.
Exactly.
Okay, question number 2. How do you stay current with emerging sustainability trends and practices? This is where you get to geek out a little bit, but in a good way.
Absolutely. But don't just rattle off the names of organizations like the World Green Building Council or the American Society of Civil Engineers. Those are great, but what have you done with that information? How have you engaged with those resources? Have you been to any of their recent webinars? Have you read any of their publications? What resonated with you? And how did that spark an idea for your work? That's what they want to know.
Engagement is key. Don't just name drop. Show them that you're an active learner.
Exactly.
Okay, question number 3. This one's all about showing, not telling. What experience do you have with implementing sustainability initiatives within an organization? Now, you might be thinking, but I've never been a sustainability manager before. And that's okay. Think about the times when you've made a difference, even in a smaller way. Did you get your office to switch to more sustainable suppliers? Did you spearhead a project that reduced your team's environmental impact? These might seem small, but it's all about how you frame it.
And that's where the STAR method can come in handy. So when you're thinking about those experiences, think about the situation, the task, the actions that you took, and then the result.
And don't be afraid to get really specific with those results. So instead of saying, I improved our recycling rate, quantify it. I created this new system, and that boosted our recycling rate by 15%, which kept this much waste out of landfills. Numbers are impactful, and they're going to remember them.
Absolutely.
All right, question number 4. How do you measure the success of sustainability initiatives within an organization? This feels like it's straight out of the career guide section on quantifiable results.
It is. They want to know if you understand how important it is to make decisions based on data. So have some solid examples ready. Things like, did you reduce energy consumption? Did you improve waste diversion rates? Did you help your company earn a specific sustainability certification?
And again, it's all about those specifics. Don't just say reduced energy consumption. Say, I led this program and that reduced our energy consumption by 10% and it saved us this much money. That's the kind of impact that they're going to notice.
Absolutely.
And we're back. All right, so we just went through a bunch of common interview questions, but I bet you're ready for more.
Of course.
So let's dive into some of those more subtle things that can really make a difference in an interview.
Yeah, sometimes those unexpected things can really trip you up. And it made me think of that section in the career guide about career stages. Because it talks about how everybody starts somewhere.
Right.
And you might be surprised by the experience that you've already gotten, even if it wasn't a specific sustainability role.
Totally. The career guide even talks about how, maybe you helped organize a volunteer event to clean up a local park, or you convince your family to switch to energy-efficient appliances. They seem like small things.
Yeah.
But it shows you're taking initiative.
You can
It shows
tell.
you actually care about this stuff.
It shows that this isn't just a job for you.
Exactly.
That's something you're passionate about.
It's part of your life. Now, we talked about research,
Right.
but I'm curious, how deep are we really going with this research?
Research is so important, but it's more about quality than quantity. I'm not saying just go and read their website. Really dive into their sustainability reports. What are their goals? Have they been criticized for their environmental practices? Are there any new regulations that might impact their industry?
Okay, so we're doing some digging.
Yeah.
Where do you even find this information?
That's where RoleCatcher can be really useful because they have this feature that gathers all of this information from everywhere. News articles, financial reports, even what people are saying about them on social media. So you can get a well-rounded picture of their commitment to sustainability, both good and bad.
It's like you get a sneak peek behind the curtain before you even walk in the door.
Exactly.
Speaking of having the upper hand, the career guide also mentioned asking good questions at the end of the interview.
Yes. Asking questions shows that you're really interested and you've been paying attention, but even more than that, it's a chance for you to get information and figure out if this job is the right fit for you.
I like that little perspective shift.
Yeah.
So what kind of questions should we be asking?
So you can get a little strategic here. Like, let's say you find a potential challenge while you're doing your research. You could say something like, I read that you're working towards achieving net zero emissions by 2040. Could you tell me more about how you're planning to reach that goal?
So you're showing them you did your research,
Yeah.
but you're also showing that you're interested in their challenges and their goals.
Exactly. Or maybe you're curious about how they get people involved in their sustainability efforts. You could ask, how do you measure if your sustainability initiatives are successful, and how do you communicate that to investors and customers?
So you're learning about what they care about
Yes.
and how they actually make a difference. That's smart.
Right.
Okay, that's really good. Now, any tips for calming those pre-interview jitters? Because let's be honest, even when you prepare, interviews can still be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, they definitely can be. Honestly, being prepared is the best way to calm your nerves. When you feel confident about your skills and your experience and you know you can answer their questions well, you're going to feel more relaxed. And never underestimate the power of practice.
Practice makes perfect. How do you even practice for an interview, though?
RoleCatcher can be a game changer here. They have an AI-powered interview simulator where you can practice answering questions in a low-pressure environment. And their AI gives you feedback on your answers and tells you what you can improve. It's kind of like having a personal interview coach whenever you need one.
So you get personalized feedback without the pressure of a real interview. I like that a lot.
And don't forget the simple things. Make sure you get enough sleep, dress well, and get there a few minutes early. Little things like that can really boost your confidence.
It's all about setting yourself up for success, mentally and physically. Okay, before we wrap things up, I want to circle back to something we talked about earlier. External resources, like the World Green Building Council and the U.S. Green Building Council.
Those are excellent resources, not just to stay updated, but also to make you look even better in your interview.
How so? How do we weave those resources into our answers without sounding like we're just naming things we've heard of?
Talk about how those resources have shaped your perspective or influenced your work. For example, you could say, I recently went to a webinar by the U.S. Green Building Council about the latest trends in sustainable building materials, and I was really interested in what they said about using recycled materials in construction.
Okay, so you're not just saying you know about the organization. You're showing that you're really paying attention to what they do
Yes.
and using that information in your work.
Exactly. Or if you read their publications regularly, you could mention a recent article that you found interesting or that gave you a new idea.
So it's about showing them that you're not just keeping up with the latest trends, you're ahead of the game.
Exactly. And in a field like sustainability, which is constantly changing, that kind of initiative is really valuable.
And we're back for the final part of our Sustainability Manager Interview Prep Deep Dive. We have covered so much, from breaking down common interview questions to really understanding how to research a company.
We've given you the toolkit. Now it's all about bringing your best self into the interview room.
Let's talk about that, because even with all the prep in the world, walking into that interview can feel pretty intense. Any tips for how to project that I've got this energy?
You know, it sounds so simple, but remember to breathe.
Oh, yeah.
Taking those deep breaths can really help calm your nerves. And don't forget about body language.
Oh, how you present yourself.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. Make eye contact, sit up straight, smile.
Hmm.
These little things show that you're confident and approachable.
It's like you're setting the stage before you even say anything.
Exactly. And speaking of setting the stage, let's talk about the first few minutes of the interview.
Okay.
Sometimes that small talk can feel just as important as the actual interview questions.
It really does, because it sets the tone.
Be ready for those icebreaker questions like, tell me about yourself, or what interests you about this role. Have a nice, short, and engaging answer ready to go.
This feels like another place where RoleCatcher could be helpful.
It really is, because they have a feature that helps you create a compelling elevator pitch that's tailored to the specific jobs you're applying for.
It's like you're telling a story,
Yeah.
but it's a story that shows off your best skills and experience.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to let your personality come through a little bit. Let them see that you're genuinely passionate about sustainability.
Because they're not just hiring your resume, right?
Right.
They're hiring you.
They're hiring a person. Exactly. And that brings up another point. Company culture.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to get so caught up in the role itself that you forget to think about the people.
Absolutely.
While you're in the interview, pay attention to the little things. How do the interviewers treat each other? What's the overall feeling you get from the office?
Because a company can say all the right things about sustainability,
Right.
but if they don't treat their employees well, it's going to be hard to thrive there.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to ask questions about the company culture, like, how does your company support work-life balance and employee well-being?
Can you tell me about a time when your company celebrated a sustainability win?
Those questions show that you want a job where you can grow, both professionally and as a person.
It's about finding a company that shares your values,
Exactly.
where you can actually see yourself making a difference. Okay, so to wrap things up, you've prepped, you've researched the company, you've practiced your answers, you've paid attention to the company culture. Now what?
Remember that an interview is a conversation, not an interrogation.
I love that. It takes the pressure off.
Exactly. Be yourself, be authentic, and let your passion shine through.
Amazing. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners before we wrap up this deep dive?
You've got this.
Yes.
Believe in yourself, believe in your skills, and believe in your passion for building a more sustainable future.
I love that. You've got this. What an inspiring way to end this deep dive. A huge thank you to you for sharing all these incredible insights with us.
It's been my pleasure, really. It was a great conversation.
And to all of our listeners, we hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and the confidence to go out and absolutely crush those interviews. Remember, the world needs people like you who are passionate about making a difference. Now go make it happen. Until next time on The Deep Dive.